Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. Today, I want to talk about twin flame cord cutting, and specifically the signs and symptoms that tend to occur when one twin flame attempts to cut the energetic bond, to break free energetically from the connection with their true twin flame. Many of us have the experience of twin flames, of along the journey beginning to wonder whether or not there is a way to release this person, to release this path, and to cut them out of our lives, cut them out of our consciousness. Now, this isn't something that absolutely every twin flame goes through, this kind of desire to disconnect. But for those who do experience this, usually it comes from being really in the depths, in the trenches of what we think of as a dark night of the soul. Really experiencing a lot of what we sometimes call ego death in their life, a lot of loss of identity, a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos. And oftentimes, much of this dark night of the soul experience is catalyzed by our twin flame connection, by consciously interacting with our mirror soul in this lifetime. It really triggers within us depths of healing, but that healing often happens through the pain, through the triggers, through the release of the shadows, by having them brought to the surface in such a profound way. And the same thing is equally happening for our twin flame as well, which is why sometimes twin flames in the physical can repel one another, or one twin flame can even seem to repress their feelings about the connection or deny the connection in the physical. It's not that they are denying or repressing the person of the twin flame, the soul of their twin flame counterpart. It is that they are overwhelmed by the intensity of the energetic purging process that necessarily takes place for twins. So again, very often this kind of triggering, mirroring, this energetic purging that takes place between twin flames, potentially the push and pull, the repelling and coming back together, at times can cause us to feel a bit energetically overwhelmed or even exhausted. And in those moments, we may find ourselves saying, I just want to let go and move on with my life. So at that point, we may participate in some kind of attempt to cord cut with our twin flame. Now, what is cord cutting? Well, cord cutting is a concept in spirituality where essentially we take all of our energy back from a particular person and from the bond we share with a particular soul, and also return all of that person's energy back to them. One common phrase or mantra that people will use for this kind of cord cutting ceremony or practice is something along the lines of, I now take all of my energy back from this person and return all of this person's energy back to them, and they will replace, of course, the word person with the person's actual name to make this practice more powerful. Now, of course, there are many ways to go about cord cutting. This is just one literal mantra to use to cut the energetic currents between yourself and another person. Because essentially, when we choose to cut cords with someone, it's because with this person, just like with anyone whom we share a connection to, we have a kind of energy bond where we are both giving to the connection energetically. We are transferring energy to this person, both at the conscious level and the subconscious level. And this person is also sending energy to us in this way. And when a certain bond or connection reaches a point where it no longer serves us, or this energetic give and take becomes exhausting, tiring, or overwhelming, it can be beneficial in other forms of soul connection or other relationships with different souls that are not our twin flame to cut the cords, to cut the ties, to take our energy back and to return this person's energy back to them. Now, I think you can already see where I'm going with this, because inherently the reason that cord cutting with a twin flame is impossible is because this is a unique form of soul connection. So when we say that with our twin, we want to cut ties, we want to stop this twin flame process, this journey, this spiritual catalyzation, awakening happening within us through this person, and simply separate ourselves from them. We are asking the impossible with a twin flame. And the reason for this is because with other forms of soul connection, there is a natural energetic give and take. We are essentially giving energy within these relationships and connections to this other soul, and they are giving energy to us. And that mutual energy exchange then cultivates this bond between us that can either lift us up or weigh us down accordingly. But with a twin flame, as a contrast to these other forms of connection, there is no energetic give and take, because twin flame energy is not a transactional exchange. We don't give our twin flame energy and receive energy from them in the same way as we do other forms of soul bond and connection. And what I mean by this is the energy exchange between twins is natural, is reflected, is happening perpetually, because twin flames are inherently, as the name twin souls suggests, mirrors of one another, energetically speaking. So this means they aren't giving and receiving energy from the other twin. They are simply sharing the energy together. So when one twin shifts, the other twin shifts as well. Giving to themselves energetically is equivalent to giving to the other, because their energy is shared. Their energetic centers mirror one another. And in this way, the exchange that happens between them energetically is this perpetual back and forth flowing of energy that is really just a real-time reflection of what is going on in the other twin's energetic field. So because cutting cords energetically with the soul who is bonded to yours at the core level, that is bonded to your energy, is an impossible task when we attempt to cut cords with a twin flame. Rather than receiving the traditional benefits of a cord cutting ceremony, such as increased peace, an increased sense of energy in the true sense of the word energy, very often when we cut ties within a non-twin flame connection, we truly take back our energy from this other person, and it can really be a beautiful kind of act of self-love to energetically separate ourselves from someone who is taking too much from us energetically. But with a twin flame, when we attempt to separate from the soul that is intertwined with our own, we will experience a seeming barrage of signs and symptoms and even synchronicities that all essentially seem to be leading us back to our twin once again. For twin flames, oftentimes when we try to walk away or separate ourselves from this connection, whether it's through cord cutting ceremonies or through some other attempt to disconnect, very often in true twin flame connection, we feel like we are walking away in one direction, and before we know it, it's as though we end up coming all the way around, full circle, and coming back right where we began. And that feeling of now starting back over at the beginning with all of it especially applies to the kinds of signs and synchronicities that twin flames are so often pummeled with when they try to disconnect from the journey, when they try to cut cords in this way. Very often, when twin flames try to consciously disconnect their energy from the other twin, the universe will actually send them more signs of this person. They will feel as though they are hearing or seeing this person's name everywhere, or if not their name, things that are all reminding them of their person, and even specific signs that seem to evoke within them these depths of emotional reaction that seem to just tie them, cord them right back in with this other soul even more powerfully than before. The number synchronicities will start showing up all over the place. It will feel as though we can't move far enough away. We can't run far enough. We can't try to force ourselves to stop thinking about this person enough to truly cut the ties or to truly disconnect. And in fact, the harder we try to disconnect, oftentimes the less sense of peace we feel. It's the total opposite to other forms of soul connection and the energetic disconnection, the cord cutting within other forms of connection, because in these other cases, cutting cords can cause us to feel a deeper sense of peace, a greater sense of joy and freedom. But with our twin, even if we truly consciously desire to disconnect, these attempts to do just that, to walk away, to fully cut the ties, to disconnect ourselves, actually leads to greater emotional chaos. And that's another sign that tends to happen to twins who attempt to cut cords, is rather than achieving emotional peace, they tend to experience even greater feelings of emotional chaos. They can find themselves thrown into experiencing extreme highs and lows, what some might call mood swings, except to the extremes, feeling just extremely disoriented, chaotic, energetically speaking, emotionally speaking, and I could say so much about this, but for the sake of time, I will simply say the reason this occurs at the core level is because when you try to cut cords with a twin flame, you are trying to consciously disconnect yourself not only from a path that your soul chose for you in this life that is about so much more than a person, that is about you really aligning with the highest vibrational version of yourself and walking the divine path you chose for yourself in this life, but you are also attempting to disconnect from a person, a soul, and that is inherently your own soul that is intertwined with you. You are, in a sense, trying to push against yourself and against your own energy by seeing this person as separate and trying to push them away from you. So with all of that being said, when we're feeling this pull to want to let go, to want to disconnect, know that first of all, if you are experiencing this desire to cut cords, to disconnect, potentially if that's what even led you to this podcast, know that you are not alone in feeling this way and nothing is going wrong within you or along your journey. And the reason you're feeling this way most likely is simply because you are experiencing the intensity of the journey, the overwhelm of the journey, and perhaps when you're feeling this desire to disconnect from your twin, to cut cords, what you are really feeling is the call of your soul to deeper levels of surrender. And I've spoken in other podcasts about surrender, and I'm sure it will come up in future ones as well. But the difference between surrendering and cutting cords within twin flame connection is when we cut cords, we are trying to use the conscious mind to forcibly make ourselves no longer feel what we feel for our twin, to no longer feel pulled in the directions that we may feel pulled in along this journey. We are trying to force our feelings or ourselves or this path to be different than it is, or even to attempt to make our twin flame in the physical different than they are in that moment. Whereas when we choose to surrender, what we are really surrendering is the physical manifested aspects of this journey altogether. We are surrendering to deeper levels of peace within ourselves, to that knowing voice within us that is guiding us, that is a soft whisper beneath the shouts and the fears and doubts of our ego. Listen to that call, that quiet voice within your soul that is leading you on the best path for you. And surrender the idea of the physical manifested person and connection if that is what brings you peace. Because very often, again, what our soul is calling us to is to let go, to surrender our attachments to the way in which this beautiful, expansive, complex connection will play itself out before us. And of course, that journey is going to look very unique to you. But the beautiful thing about reaching this point of deeper surrender is surrendering actually brings us into deeper alignment with our highest soul's path. It truly calls us into much greater levels of peace and clarity, and allows us to effortlessly become magnetic for love, for happiness, for fulfillment in our lives. And the ironic thing is, ultimately, Reaching this point of surrender cultivates an energetic union between ourselves and our twin flame, because our twin feels the shift and responds to the shift unconsciously that we are making within ourselves through this act of total surrender. So I have created a twin flame surrender subliminal meditation, and this is a really powerful sound therapy tool to assist you in reprogramming your subconscious mind, which it's actually the subconscious mind that is connected with your energy field. So in meditating with this subliminal on a daily basis, you will begin to quickly feel yourself more effortlessly shifting into deeper levels of peace and surrender that will reflect in all areas of your life, but yes, will also allow you to create that 5D union with your twin. And once two twin flame counterparts stabilize that 5D union, truly anything is possible for them in the physical. They open themselves up to any potential manifested reunion states in the physical world that they may desire to experience with one another, but it all has to begin energetically. And so this twin flame surrender subliminal is about assisting you in shifting and clearing and stabilizing your energy for more manifested connection in the physical with your twin, or simply more peace and clarity in your life. So this subliminal comes from my website, soundandsoulful.com. As you can see on the screen, on this website, I have over 100 subliminals for all areas of life. So you can try out any subliminal I've created completely free for 7 days by creating a free trial account on my website, which again is soundandsoulful.com. All of that information is linked in the pinned comment and description box under this video. I truly hope that this podcast reached you if this was a message you needed to hear today. And if so, please be sure to subscribe to this channel to receive updates whenever I post new twin flame content and future reading videos. I hope you have a truly beautiful, wonderful rest of your day. Do leave me a comment as well and let me know if you've ever felt like disconnecting on the journey and what kinds of signs or symptoms you experienced when you tried to cut cords or disconnect from your twin. I do love hearing from all of you in the comments, and I am so grateful for this beautiful community we're building together on YouTube. So a huge thank you to all of you for being such a powerful part of that, for literally being co-creators here. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are on the planet, whenever you're listening to this podcast, and I will talk to you again in the next video.